A big hello to our Highlights Foundation family. We're so very happy to have you here with us today. For those that may not know me, I'm Kat Galliano. My pronouns are she, her. I'm also the social media manager here at the Highlights Foundation, also known as the person who's resharing your post, responding to you with blue and green hearts. I am the human behind the account, and I'm very, very happy to be with you here today. I'm also coming to you from Westchester County, New York, on the traditional lands of the Siwanoy people. And apart from all the things I get to do at the Highlights Foundation, my greatest joy, if not my favorite thing I get to do is celebrate the book birthdays of our community members, faculty, and friends, because your wins are our wins, and this is just such a joy for me. And today I have the honor of celebrating our friends, Andrea L. Rogers and Rebecca Lee Kunz, and their new picture book, Chooch Helped, which Andrea wrote and Rebecca illustrated, which I also found out is Rebecca's debut picture book, which is so very, very exciting to hear. And before we dive in, I just want to remind our viewers that joining in any Highlights Foundation spaces and sessions to please do so with no hate, no harm, and no harassment of any kind. Now we're going to get started with our questions. So my first question to the both of you, which is what I love to ask everybody that I chat with, is how are you feeling? The book is out in the universe, in the hands of the readers, in the classrooms, in people's homes. So how are you feeling?
Amazing.
Yes, very happy.
Very happy.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, it's been really nice to get messages from people who love Chooch, and they probably love Sissy too, but they're like, oh, and so it's really nice to get those messages and have people, say that one, they're happy to see contemporary Cherokee culture,
Right.
which has been absent from picture books for children for a very long time. For so long, everything focused on prior to 1839. There was nothing contemporary, and so this is showing that our that culturally we're still here, that as a tribe we're still here, as a people we're still here, and we're not extinct, and we do continue our cultural ways, arts. But we also adapt, because one of the pictures in the book is about a bicycle, and it's for me. I thought of the Remember the Removal ride that the Cherokee Nation does, along with the Eastern Band, that honors our ancestors, and descendants retrace that trail on bike, and so that 1,000-mile trail, they ride that. And so we do adapt, and we do any technology a Cherokee can get a hold of and can figure out how to make culture happen, they will.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to add anything, Rebecca?
Well, it's just been such a joy, this whole process, learning how to make a picture book, and working with Andrea. I knew right away when I read the story that I loved it. It's a wonderful story, and it's been just exciting and fun, and I've learned an enormous amount in a small amount of time, and it's been really exciting to see the book actually come out into the world, and just see people interacting with it and enjoying it. And I'm so glad that it's in the hands of children now, where it should be, and parents reading it to their kids. It's really exciting, and it's been a lot of joy.
Yeah, and I have to say, I have been talking up the art on this book like since I saw Rebecca's first pages. And I had seen Rebecca's art before that, and I loved it. But what was so funny is when I got the book, or when they sent me the digital copy without my text, just with her art, I was like, oh wow, you don't even need my words.
That's true.
But no, it is
That
wonderful. Every picture every picture's worth 1,000 words. But what that means to me is, like, a little kid who can't read yet can pick it up, and they know what happens.
Yeah.
And so she really told the story that I told with words, she told with pictures. And so it was such a great combination of two Cherokee women making, telling a story using their own particular skill set.
What a gift.
Yes.
What a gift.
Yep.
Truly. I finished reading the book and I was like, what a gift to the world this is. Like, truly, like, gift of words, gift of art. Like, I think you couldn't have said it better. Two Cherokee women that just, like, truly gave a gift. So
Mhm.
thank you.
Thank you.
Um,
Ditto.
so my second question, which I think you slightly touched upon this, but I kind of want to elaborate a little bit more, is can you talk to us about why this story was important to tell?
For me, growing up, I didn't have any books written by Cherokee authors for children. I didn't see people who looked like my dad or my aunts or uncles or my grandparents out in the world. It was as if we didn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't, you know, I think when you don't see yourself in the world, you often question your value.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that children are always looking for themselves, or people they love in their in work. And so then I had my own kids starting like 25 years ago, and there still weren't any books like this. Um, Now that being said, the Dene Navajo Nation School District, they had done, and some smaller publishers there. You can find some books like Lucy Tapahanzo, illustrated by Emerson Chi. But I was in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and so I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't seeing those books. And I'm also not Navajo. And so, we're not homogenous. There are, all of our tribes are different. I would love to see Chabon helped from the
Mm-hmm.
Muskogee, or, whatever other nicknames you go with at different tribes. I would love to see all of them because this book, I wanted to celebrate so much of what my nation does. The Remember the Removal Ride, the language, the arts program. I mean, we have a fantastic art gallery in Tahlequah, and there's an artist center where Cherokee citizens can go and work on art, and make clay and beads and earrings and work on art. And so there are so many wonderful things that if you're not exposed to it, one, you can't be exposed to everything,
Mm-hmm.
and two, if you're not living right there, you may not see it.
Right.
And so I wanted to make sure I shared that. But also as a parent, there's a part in the book where the parents make a mistake, right? And so it's not just the sissy growing, it's
Mm-hmm.
not just Chooch growing and learning, it's also the parents recognizing that they make a mistake, because I'm a parent. And guess what? I've had to apologize just last night. Anyway, and
Yeah.
so, in most of the books, it's kind of a down from the top down. All they're still hierarchical. I can't say the word, but you know what I mean. And so there's not so much of also showing that we're a community, that we're a family, that we're teaching each other. And so I also wanted that. Um, because it's okay to mess up, um but it's what you do with it, it's how you go forward. It's like, once you know better, can you do better?
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
And so I wanted to also have that in the book, so because there's no doubt in my mind that these parents love these kids.
Yes.
um but even a parent who loves you might yell at you, and and hopefully they feel sorry and bad later. And so, anyway, so that was
Mhm.
part of it. Rebecca, you said you loved it. What did you like? What did you want to see out in the world?
I remember even beyond the story, something you requested in the illustrations, you were really wanting, I hope I'm saying this correctly, wanting Cherokees to be represented in a way, a contemporary way, and it was
Mm-hmm.
important to you that I, as the illustrator, illustrated contemporary, real people that are not, that don't. It's really amazing how the stereotypes still thrive.
Yes.
Still, and I even find myself stuck in them sometimes, and I have to just remember that it is that I loved that challenge, and I resonated with that a lot. That and especially in the Cherokee Nation, there are African descent Cherokees, there are mixed Cherokees, there are a lot of mixed Cherokees, and when you go to Oklahoma, especially, you see a very large variety of what people look like and act like and what they do, and mostly doing very contemporary things. And we, like Andrea said, not stuck in the past. And so that was important. And all the things that Andrea said about wanting to have representation for the Cherokee children and people, for children to be able to see themselves in these books, and the parents, and they can be like, oh, I help my dad fix bikes sometimes too, or maybe they even get inspired to go gigging and fishing, for crawdads when they
Yeah.
see those, and they're like, I want to, and maybe it'll remind them of a few things that they didn't know about that they might want to try, or so and the heartwarming part of the story about, we all know a little Chooch, a little guy who's
Yes.
really, I have 3 children, and I remember really well that age, and how irritating they can be when they're 2 to their older siblings and to the parents too, but also they just always want to help. And I remember saying that to my older kids, like, she's just trying to help. She's being helpful. She just wants to help. And like helping mostly meant like not at all being helpful, but making big messes. And it's just really, it's a sweet story, and
And
kids can really relate to it.
yeah, and I just really want to echo that whole, it was important to me for there to be Black Cherokees,
Mm-hmm.
because historically, I mean, if you pick up the picture books, again, as Rebecca pointed out, I mean, so many are stereotypes of this is what a Cherokee should look like.
Mm-hmm.
And the reality is,
Mhm.
we look all kinds of ways. And
Yeah.
so, and our kids look all kinds of ways. DNA is weird. And so, but that doesn't, what makes you Cherokee is you're a citizen of the Cherokee Nation. You
Hmm.
have a political identity. You also have a cultural identity, and what your ancestors went through, that's your inheritance.
Mm-hmm.
And so the fact that they survived so you could be here, that's yours. That belongs to you. And it doesn't matter if you're what you look like. And so it matters that this is this is yours.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to do it, if you want to learn the language, those resources are out there. And so we're asking you to please come. Please try and, do something. And it doesn't, we all have a lot to do. But it's possible to just plant that seed
Mm-hmm.
so that kids know it's there.
Yeah, and for the non-native like myself and for others, like I love that like there was actually Cherokee words in there, and that the way how to pronounce was there, which was so inviting. And I love that. Like, so it wasn't intimidating. Like at first I was like, oh, but then you look down and you're like, oh. So it was like an oh. So it was just so like it was just so inviting, and I just love that like that's becoming more like it's becoming just like more normalized to see
Mhm.
that, because like so many of us are just speak other languages, and it's important to just see that in books. So I just loved that the pronunciation was there, and it just made it very inviting, and I really really appreciated that. I'm sure kids will absolutely adore that, and enjoy pronouncing those words, and make it like a family affair with their parents and their schools and classrooms. Um, so my next question is going to be to Rebecca, because we need to talk about the art. Um,
So beautiful.
Please, people, if you see this book, please pick it up. First of all, buy it. But 2, if you can't, you need to request it at your library, but also pick it up, because the art is phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. The colors, the elements, everything that was woven into it. Can
Mm-hmm.
you tell us about the process of getting the illustrations onto the page?
Yes, so that was a bit of a learning process. Because I'm traditionally a painter, printmaker, mixed media artist, and I had, before this book, had not illustrated a children's book, it's quite a different process. And I had to experiment with some different things before I found my technique that worked. And to keep it kind of short, I used a combination of some different collage techniques and layering, watercolor, and the whole thing was put together on a program called Procreate,
Mm-hmm.
which some of you might be familiar with. it's an illustration app, I guess. It's an app that you can use on an iPad. And I found that I could keep my style that I have created over the years. And I found a way to work with that style in Procreate and with my different mixed medias, bringing in the different textures and the watercolor paper and layers. And I work with I work with a lot of layers, and I work with a lot of symbols and archetypes. And so everything in the book has some significance or meaning. And that's how I've been working for quite a while now. Before this, in my other work that I do, it's really important to me. And so everything that you see has some significance. The background in some of the pages is a repeating motif from archaeological sites where they found pots, and the motifs from the pots are the burial mounds. And some of them there are a few symbols in there that are my own, but mostly that I made up. But most everything else is traditional and can be found in petroglyphs and historical sites and objects. And then the textures, like I said, I did a lot of layering, layer over layer over layer, and that's how I work with my painting also. And then drawing and like a painting over the layers of texture.
It was just beautiful. Like it just took Andrea's words and just elevated it. Just the color palette for me was just like, I was salivating for the color palette. I was like the oranges, the reds. I was just, oh my God. Oh, just stunning.
Thank you.
Like the blues, beautiful. So my next question is for both of you. Can you tell us a little bit about your journey as writers, as illustrators, and how the Highlights Foundation has played a little part of it?
Andrea.
Yeah, I've known about Highlights for a long time, and I've heard many other writers basically talk about how magical the retreat space was. But it's never like, so I know there have been a couple of Native retreats or like several Native writers going at once. And so I really wanted to go, but I didn't think I could afford it. And then, but then I committed to like, you know what, I'm going to spend this money on myself and go and be with my people, with other Native writers and illustrators, because it's just so nice to be together and to get up in the morning and have breakfast with your friends and then go back and work or write. And this time, Nikki Shannon Smith was our artist in residence. And I was struggling with how to write a picture book that I've been thinking about for a very long time. And so Nikki and we were having lunch, and I was telling her about my research and what I wanted to do, and my idea, kind of where that was starting and where I wanted to go. And just that one conversation with her lit me on fire.
Oh, wow.
And so by the time I left, I had built myself a slideshow of most of the picture book. And so, because I was dropping in photos and stuff, just so the editor would see what I'm talking about when I talk about a river cane basket, when I talk about river cane, when I talk about, a mat, when I talk about weaving, when I talk about a home, so they could see all that. And then, so by the time I left, I had that, I had about 75% of the manuscript in pieces there. And so really just like a week later, I had it when I got home and really worked on it a bit more, I had it. And so, and also I had applied for the Highlights Foundation retreat a little late, and so I had missed the scholarship application process, and that was on me. That was because I didn't think I could go. Also, I'm a PhD student at a university, and so so you're always trying to figure out when you can go and take off. And I have a child who's in high school, and so it did require me making some arrangements for other people to step in and help out. And so but I had just decided it was really important. And then I had found out Rebecca had gotten the scholarship, and I was like, yes, I really need to be there. And so, and then at some point they found some money that I was able to apply towards what I owed. And they set up a really great payment plan for me from the get-go, because I was concerned about paying for it all. And and so, but then there was extra money found, so I was able to, it was much more affordable, and it was completely worth it even prior to that, though.
Yay.
Yeah. So I went to the same retreat that Andrea is talking about, that she mentioned, the Native Creatives Retreat in August of this year. I had heard of the Highlights Foundation not that long ago, because this is all new to me. Within the last few years, I heard of it last year, and then I started looking into it and saw that Tracy Sorrell was the
retreat
advisor, the leader,
host.
Retreat host.
Retreat host.
Yes.
And
Yes.
of course, anyone who knows Tracy knows she's a leader and in this world, but in this world of children's Native Cherokee literature. And she is just amazing. And I was like, I have to go and be with her, and just like, I don't care whatever else. I just want to go and be around her and be around the other people. And the space did look really quite magical, and it was beyond magical and beautiful and so comforting. And it's just kind of amazing how much the food and being in a space where you can not only have space to write, and for me, I needed to, particularly because I have 3 children at home still, it was really important for me to get away and get that space and clear my head and be around other creatives, writers and artists, and be in this amazingly inspiring space, and having a space where I can work that's quiet, or I can go and join people or I can join them for meals, or I can go back and have more quiet work time. And then I was able to go for some hikes and by the river, and then the food being provided was not only just wonderful to have someone else cooking, but the food was amazing. It was like 5-star food. It was, so I loved my experience, and I will definitely be going back. But I didn't know what I was missing.
Same here.
Years.
Yeah. Tracy had talked about how it was like her magic space or magic place, because she had, and she told us that story while we were there. And, she had done so much hard work getting, sponsors and support, and, helping put it together, and doing the scheduling. Her and I can't remember who else worked on it, but Stacey Wells, maybe Elise as well. Miranda Paul was there, and it was just, I never felt so cared for in all my life. And I mean, we could take walks safely, right? Which is a big deal for a woman.
Yeah.
I mean, to be able to go out and take a walk in the woods by yourself is huge. And so to not feel, always worried. And so it was just, I never felt so cared for in all my life. And so it's just amazing work that she's done to build community and to support other writers. In some spaces you'll notice some not so healthy competition, some toxicity, but there was nothing like that there. We all want, I mean, gosh, I can't write the book you can write. I can't tell the story you have. And so why would I be jealous? So, and there was none of that. It was just love, love, love. And, how can I help you?
Yep.
And I want you to meet this person. I want you to talk to this person. You should ask Tracy about that. I don't know how many times I've told people, you should talk to Tracy about that, because she is super smart and just, oh man.
Uplifting.
And so, she's got like 12 books out, and she's killing it. She's amazing. And they're all wonderful.
That's wonderful. We're so happy
really fun to be there. It was really fun to be, excuse me, I'm sorry. It was fun to be there with Andrea also. I didn't mention that. That was a big bonus. It was such a bonus to be able to be there together. And
yeah,
but
it was.
Had you known each other beforehand, or did you meet there?
We met one time. We met one time in person about 2 years ago, and then we started working on the book shortly after that.
Okay.
So we kind of got to know each other through emailing and texting, and then we have seen each other a few times since then, that being one of them.
That's amazing. Oh, imagine like just having like a very special
Yeah,
retreat and community retreat and like your author
I know.
illustrator actually happens to be there. How magical is that?
It was very
Um,
serendipitous.
my next question is going to be a question for both of you, and it's sort of an advice question. What advice would you give other writers and illustrators wanting to pursue a career in children's lit?
Gosh, one, always be writing. Oh, I mean, you might feel like you finished one thing and you're like, yay, I finished, and now I can just wait. And no, you can't, because you never know who's going to love what you want, what you have, and what illustrator will be available. So, I mean, just always be doing the thing, and then celebrate other writers. That's
That's a
like,
great one.
we're a community, and celebrate other writers and illustrators. I mean, call the library and recommend books by other writers. And it's like, and I have actually, I don't know if my student's on here watching this or not. I gave her some piece of advice as number one today, and I don't even remember what it was. So maybe Shelby can drop that on. I can't remember. I was like, number two is always keep all your contracts together, but I can't remember what number one was. Oh well, I'm sure it was important. Your turn, Rebecca.
Well, if I'm talking and you remember, let me know and jump in.
Okay.
Maybe you'll remember. But I would say to anyone interested in illustrating or art or pretty much anything that's creative, just jump in. It can be really intimidating, especially something like writing, illustrating a book. I think a lot of people might feel like, how do I get started? How would I even begin? It can be quite overwhelming. There's a lot to learn about when you're all of the whole process, and there's a lot of information out there online, like sometimes too much about. And that can be intimidating too, but I would say rather than waiting until you have an agent or the perfect opportunity that someone gives you to illustrate a book, I would just say, just start working. Even if your work doesn't look that great in the beginning, just keep learning, keep working, and get yourself involved somehow, either through find a mentor or a teacher or someone online teaching, and just start on something and start working and just keep working, even work through all the drawings you don't like, all the sketches, all the art, just keep pushing through and it will get better, your work inevitably. And just if you're consistent and you keep showing up every day and get pushed through the hard moments when your work I have been through many hard moments and years of creating work I was not happy with. And somehow I just was obsessed enough to keep going, and I've gotten to this place now where I feel it's rewarding now, and I am so glad that I did stick with it. But I did not wait for different points in my career. I didn't wait for the gallery to come to me and ask me. I've just kind of started small. Also, I'd say start. Don't have huge expectations in the beginning. Just start somewhere and get involved. Even if it's if you're a student, go work at a publishing house at the very, just even be there and sweep the floors and be around people that are doing it, just to get involved and start learning about it and build slowly, and be humble, from the beginning, but it will eventually lead to something.
Oh, yeah, that was,
Do you
I
remember?
remember what my advice was. Yes, it was just be kind. I mean, be kind to the other, don't yuck other people's yums, and be kind. And, just be supportive. So I guess I really did say that already. But yeah, that's number one, is just hopefully you will develop your own style, and that will be yours. And so, love on other people's styles. So,
yeah, study other people's styles. That's right. Yeah. And yeah.
I also want to say Shelby did come through and she said, check your spam folder.
Thank you, Shelby. Yes, always check your spam folder.
Thank you, Shelby.
That's such good advice.
Very good advice because stuff does end up there. So thank you for that. So I'm gonna lead into our final question, which is what do you hope kids and teens will take away from your book?
How about you, Andrea?
Okay, I'll start. Um, just pause, like that beat, right? Um, I think it can be really easy to react without thinking, and so I mean, this is really about like pausing and you know, being patient with little kids, right? Being patient with your kids, being patient. But yeah, and that I don't know. I guess treat each other with love, and it can be really hard when you're stressed and tired and hangry. And so, you know, maybe it's just a good, loving, warm book, and maybe that's what you need. Maybe you just need to sit down with something you love and your cup of tea, and just accept that you're going to have to refinish the floors later when you get ready to move.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right.
And they make great stories, right? I mean, later.
I think the takeaway would be, I hope, inherently by reading the book and looking at the pictures, some of the love is transferred to the readers from us, what we created and put into it, and the care and the love for our culture and love for our craft and our art. I think that children need beauty in the world now more than ever. They need care, and they need to know that um, that people, like, being warm and caring and doing and loving is still really important, and being kind is
Mhm.
really important, and beauty, like creating beauty in the world, is uplifting and inspiring. And children, I think, also need to feel that, take something like, they may not literally consciously think, oh, these people took a lot of time to make this book, but they will feel it when they're holding the book. It
Yes.
will go in, and the art of something that's slowly crafted, such as a book, I think it goes in, and those things are still really important, not something that's whipped out in like a few months. The illustrations are really done quickly, or the story writing. I think the kids will feel that, and the people reading it, and I hope so.
Well, and what I was going to say is sort of what Rebecca said about like when you first start, you're going to be like Chooch, right?
Yeah,
We're all going to fail the
yeah,
first time, or maybe we have one really great thing happen, and then from then on it's work,
yeah.
right? And
Mm-hmm.
so be like, Chooch is trying to learn. He wants to learn. He wants to do the things. He wants to make the pots. He wants to help with the paint. He wants to
Hmm.
garden. He wants to do all the things, but and you're going to make a mess. You're going to fail,
Yeah,
and that's okay.
And that's okay.
Keep
yeah.
going.
Keep going.
That's right.
And you have your support system there to back you up too, which I think was so beautiful too, to
Mm-hmm.
support you through it.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Um, I don't see any questions from the chat, but I would like to open the floor to the both of you if there's anything else you'd like to add before we go into our outro.
Oh, I don't know. Whatever Rebecca makes, buy it. She also did the cover for the Art Thieves, which is in the other room. So, but I'm not going to go get it. Rebecca's work is beautiful. She has pieces on her website for sale as well, and it's I have her gardening calendar, perpetual gardening calendar up, and her work is beautiful. Let's see. I don't know what else you got, Rebecca.
Well, same back at you, Andrea. Andrea has other books. The first time I learned about Andrea was from the book that my children were gifted by 3 different people, called Mary and the Trail of Tears. And then I met Andrea after, when she was doing a book signing of those. Go support Andrea and the Highlights Foundation. And the publishing house that we worked with for this book is quite amazing, and their lineup of books. So Levine Querido. And then I would just say, please support your local bookstores. That also, more than ever, we really direly, we need to support them. And Yeah, if you can, it takes some discipline. It's hard to train ourselves to not go and buy somewhere else where it's easier and quicker and free shipping.
Yeah.
So it takes a little effort, but it's so important, and not just books, but other things. But the bookstores really need it. They need our support.
Yeah.
And they will only stay afloat if we support them.
Yeah, and I want to echo that Levine Carrito has been really great about publishing contemporary Native stories. There's a new book out called Coming Home, I think, and I can't remember the artist. I mean, he's a wood carver. And of course I don't use my short-term memory, I use my phone. And so I can't remember his name. And I can't Google it because I'm on the phone with you. Anyway, Coming Home is a Hopi wood carver. I want to say it's not Mattawa, it's Mavus. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm gonna butcher it. And it's a beautiful book, and it's about Hopi resistance to having their children taken away to residential schools. And those stories are important, even though it's not a contemporary story. It's an important story because we did resist. I mean, and we resisted having our children taken away. We resisted having our language taken away. We resisted having our land taken away. And those stories, you don't see enough of those. And so this story of a Hopi resistance story, Coming Home, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful book. If you look at Debbie Reese's article in Pen America, or interview in Pen America, she mentions it, so you can find it there too. And she also gave a great shout out to Chooch, and I really
I'll look it up and make sure to, when we transcribe this,
yes.
When we
Debbie's
transcribe this,
wonderful.
I'll make sure it's in this transcription, so that way the author's name and the name of the book.
Debbie's wonderful.
Well, congratulations to you both again on this beautiful new book baby that's out in the world. A new beautiful, beautiful book that I'm instantly in love with. Cannot wait to reread. For those that may want to buy and order a copy, you can always purchase books at our virtual bookshop powered by bookshop.org. Or if those of you that are in the area, please make your way down to Tulsa, Oklahoma. If you're in that area, Andrea and Rebecca will be signing books and reading this Saturday, November 23rd at Magic City Books at 2 p.m. So please make your way over there if you are in the area, because I am so jelly for the people that are in the area, because how fun. Thank you both so much for joining me, for chatting with me, for celebrating this beautiful book, and for what a work of art you have in the world. So thank you. And thank you all of you for joining us. What a fun time.
Thank you.
Take care of yourselves, everyone. Be well, and we will have this available imminently. We'll also have a blog post about this, and we'll do a transcription, and I'll send that over to you when it's ready. And in the meantime, take care of yourselves, and thank you, Andrea. Thank you so much, Rebecca, and we'll speak soon. Bye, everyone.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.